Hello and welcome to another episode of Community Connections. I am your host, Anna Orr, and this is airing on OROMIA11. Today we are talking all things National Black Business Month, and we have Council President Andrea Jenkins here joining us, talking about National Black Business Month as well as Black Business Week, which took place here the last week of July. This is going to be a wonderful episode if you are interested in supporting the African American community fiscally, and or if you are interested in purchasing goods and helping your community stay afloat. This is going to be a wonderful episode you won't want to miss. I'm so excited to have you joining me, Council President Jenkins, on this episode of Community Connections. Mm-hmm. Now, I am very well aware of who you are, but can you share who you are and the role that you possess within the city of Minneapolis with our viewers?
Well, hello, Anna. Of course, my name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the president of the Minneapolis City Council. It is one of the greatest honors of my life. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm an artist, a writer, a poet, an oral historian, an educator, and just a proud community member here in Minneapolis.
I love that. You represent Ward 8. Can you talk about the historical background of Ward 8 in our city, or excuse me, in our state here?
Yeah, I think Ward 8 has a really significant background in the state of Minnesota. It is home to some of Minnesota's most famous sons and daughters. Lena O. Smith was one of the first black women attorneys in the state of Minnesota, and her home is in Ward 8. Ward 8 was home to Minneapolis' first black mayor, Sharon Sells Belton, Judge Pam Alexander, Judge Tanya Bransford. Prince played basketball at Bryant Junior High School, which is in Ward 8 of Minneapolis. Also, Martin Luther King Jr. Park is situated in Ward 8 in Minneapolis. And now, most recently, the worldwide phenomenon known as George Floyd Square is also in Ward 8. So, there's been some significant political aspects to Ward 8, and certainly some significant cultural aspects to Ward 8 too. It was actually home to one of Minneapolis's large black business communities. But unfortunately, that was disrupted with the sighting of 35W, which ran straight through the black neighborhood and disrupted it, much like 94 and Rondo in St. Paul.
We just had last week the executive director of Our Streets Minneapolis, or Minnesota, Jose Zayas Cavan, and he was talking about all of the different roadways and things that uprooted historical communities across our state, and so many people had no clue. And I think it's important to not only talk about the vitality of the wards and the community, but also the resilience of the people that were there prior to that effort happening to the community.
Yeah.
Now, can you talk to me a little bit about your role as council president and what that looks like for those that may not be familiar? I was just saying before we started rolling how I see you on the news and you're often at different places making sure things are taking place on our behalf. So can you kind of talk about what that looks like for you?
Well, the president of the Minneapolis City Council is the chairperson of the council, and so I guess I would call it the chief spokesperson for the council, and in many ways for the city. Certainly the mayor is the chief spokesperson for the city, but many times the media, other entities turn to the council president to try to understand the issues that are impacting the council, but as well as the community. So it's part spokesperson for the council, but also, I chair the council meetings, and so consequently, really am a part of helping to set the agenda for how we create new policies, how we respond to the needs of the community, and so it's an important role. It's a highly visible role, as you noted, and I just can't say again how proud I am to be able to serve the city in that capacity.
Now, this August is National Black Business Month. And what are some of the, I would say, points of opportunity and or successes that you heard from small business owners in your ward?
Sure. Well, August is National Black Business Month. At the city of Minneapolis, we took the last week of July to honor black businesses here in Minneapolis and to lead into August recognition of Black Business Month. Ward 8 is home to so many businesses, particularly East African businesses along Lake Street, and so predominantly Somali businesses, but certainly Ethiopian businesses up and down Lake Street, as well as Eritrean businesses. And so there's this eclectic immigrant business community, Latinx or Latino owned businesses, Latino and Latina owned businesses up and down Lake Street. And so there's a very vibrant business community. This month, in fact this week, the African American or Black State Fair is happening on Lake Street at the intersection of at the Midtown Global Market at the intersection of Chicago and Lake. And so that's been exciting to watch and see community come out and support small entrepreneurs and black businesses throughout the city to promote their goods and services and products and actually sell and earn some much needed income.
I think it was such a brilliant practice of the city to, like you said, take the end of July to do Black Business Week, to set up everybody going into the month. You should prepare, have your money ready, start to decide to buy black, to support, so that we not only can help entrepreneurs and business owners sustain, but also to keep thriving.
Right.
I think it is not only difficult to launch a business, but it's even more difficult to sustain one.
Absolutely.
Especially in this societal climate. It was very difficult. Can you talk to me about some of the takeaways during Black Business Week that you personally held on to? There were celebrations all over the city where I'm sure you got a chance to talk to so many different people, folks who had just gotten started and folks who are probably retired.
Absolutely, we did. I mean, and that was the full range. I think, so my office actually hosted in the Black Business Kickoff. And we've been doing the planning for Black Business Week for the past 3 years as an integral part of the city's team that puts on Black Business Week. So we kicked off, and it was an amazing panel discussion that we had about building generational wealth. And so that was one of the key takeaways that I have been really focused on and ruminating on about Black Business Week. We had representatives from the banking industry, from nonprofit development, media. Part of the panel was the editor and founder of, or editor, I should say, and daughter of the founders of the Minneapolis Spokesman and Recorder. And, really talking about how do you sustain and prepare yourself to pass those businesses down to other generations. And even sometimes, young people may not want to necessarily go into that business, but maybe how do they take the resources that have been gained through that business and start some other kind of entrepreneurial endeavor. So to really see the inspiration that some of these business owners were able to provide to people who are just getting into business. Also, I guess the creativity of business owners who are stepping forth. And honestly, one of the key takeaways was most of the participants were women, Black women. And, studies have indicated that Black women are, women in general, are starting more businesses, small businesses in the United States than any other demographic. And Black women are at the forefront of that business boom. And I think, it's because of lack of opportunities, I think, in the society that we live in the corporate world. Black women have been and continue to be marginalized in many of those spaces. And so many women are like, you know what, we can do this ourselves. And they are coming up with healing businesses, with hair care products, restaurants, food production. Junita's Cookies is an example of a Black woman entrepreneur who took her grandmother's cookie recipe and now is becoming a national brand, sort of like famous Amos Cookies. And that business actually started right in Ward 8 in a business incubator called City Foods, which is located at 38th and Chicago, or what is now known as George Floyd Square. So lots of inspiration, I think, from small business owners and entrepreneurs, and just really so proud to see so many Black women stepping into those spaces and filling the voids that our community needs in terms of goods and services, and being able to support their families and inspire their families and children, which is one of the biggest takeaways I had from Black Business Week.
We've often talked about the pivot, when you start to do something and then all of a sudden you have to make a decision to go another way.
Yeah.
You may still be traveling the same path, but you may have to take a detour here and there. I think so many people don't see the long game on what being a small business owner or an entrepreneur has, like you said, generational wealth, legacy, but also it's helping your community directly, putting dollars and cents into your area and feeding families.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. There are some very well-known business associations in Ward 8, the Lake Street Council, Lindale Neighborhood Business Recovery Grant, Southwest Business Association, and the West of the Rail Business Association. Can you talk to me a little bit about how your office is working in tandem with these business associations to kind of perpetuate not only giving out information but resources so that we can see the long game
and tangible results, hopefully, right? Yeah, I've been working with all of those business associations over the years. A little less with West of the Rails, but there has been some interaction, but a lot with the Lake Street Council, from providing resources to supporting their annual events that bring business owners together, addressing safety concerns along Lake Street, and many of the concerns that the businesses have been expressing, and particularly, the recovery of Lake Street since the uprisings after the murder of George Floyd. The work with Lake Street Council has been really significant. It's interesting, as you named all of those business associations, there is sort of a hole right in the middle as a 38th Street Business Association. And so I've been working with a number of community members and business owners to really think about how do we energize the 38th Street Business Association, which existed a number of years ago and sort of dwindled in its membership and in participation it's interesting as the businesses began to grow at 38th in Chicago. I think people just, because these are really small businesses, and I think they just lost the energy to be able to run their business and participate in the business association. So we're really working hard to bring that entity back into reality. And a number of those business associations are helping to take a role in that. We have an amazing business corridor along Nicollet Avenue. Some of the best restaurants in the city are along Nicollet Avenue, and they are working to help build up the 38th Street Business Association. So, and I think business associations play a really critical role in, as you said, the support, the development, providing resources, providing training opportunities for small businesses, and just connecting to let businesses know, hey, you're not alone. There's support out here. There's resources out here. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but business associations and small business just got a really big infusion of capital from the state of Minnesota in this last legislative session.
Right.
So I think it's really some great opportunities for small businesses to tap into those resources and begin to grow and expand their businesses. So organizations like NDC or the Neighborhood Development Corporation, or MIDA, which is the Minority Entrepreneurial Development Association, are providing resources to small businesses in the forms of loans and grants. And I hope people take advantage of it.
What is your personal hope as council president for the Black Business Owners of Ward 8?
My personal hope is that we can, really bring this business association together up and down 38th Street, and that that Black business owners are able to really capitalize on the interest, the activity that has been generated, because of the tragic murder of George Floyd. People are coming to Ward 8, specifically to George Floyd Square, to try to just understand the need for social justice reforms and the need for community to come together, and that businesses can really grow and develop around this interest, to be able to not only tell the story of the history of the community, the legacies that are there, but also to build a path forward for how we can heal and grow our community and subsequently the city of Minneapolis.
I think that's well said. Minnesota just announced the first Black Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court. How does this feel to you as a Black woman civic leader?
Wow, I was really, really thrilled to hear that, and I'm so glad that you just brought up this question, because I know Alan Page.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I thought he was a Chief Justice,
mm-hmm.
but he was certainly a very influential justice on the Minnesota Supreme Court. But to have a Black woman now leading the court as the Chief Justice, and we now have a Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. We have a Black woman who is the Vice President of the United States of America. There's a Black woman that's the President of Harvard University. These are significant developments in the continuance of Black women leadership in this country and throughout the world. I mean, these are some of the most influential and prominent positions that anyone can hold. And I think the recognition of a Black woman leading the Minnesota Supreme Court offers inspiration, offers the kind of representation that lets young women and young girls know that this is possible. And there's a saying, if you can see it, you can be it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the significance of myself serving as the president of the Minneapolis City Council, is that it is, it's a great honor for me, but it's more importantly inspiration for other young women, Black women, young girls to see themselves in leadership roles. So I was thrilled to hear that announcement earlier this week and applaud that appointment by the governor and wish the Chief Justice much success.
Absolutely. Now, we have an election coming up for city council in November. What advice do you have for somebody that is interested in plugging into their community or doesn't know if their vote counts or matters or what it's going to affect?
Right. Well, we do have an election coming up this November. I am on the ballot, one of 13 city council members, and it's only city council that's on the ballot this election cycle. And so 13 people, that's it. So it's a very easy, or I should say 13 seats, because there will be more people. But it's critical that people get involved in local elections. At the federal government, we see gridlock. At the state levels, we typically see gridlock, although this past election cycle in Minnesota, we saw, the Democrats hold the governor's seat, the very slim majority in the Senate, and majority in the House, and so we're able to really get things done. But historically, cities are where things happen. We've raised $15 minimum wage. We passed the Minneapolis 2040 plan, which upzones our entire city, and in the long run will make our city a much more affordable place to live. These are important issues that impact your everyday life immediately. It's very noticeable what happens at the city level. And so I think it's important for everyone to get engaged and involved. Your vote absolutely matters. We see every day where elections are won or lost by, a few hundred votes, sometimes even less than that. And so please get registered. Please go out and vote. Early voting starts on September 22nd, but Election Day is November 7th. And so Minneapolis, we have many ways that you can vote. You can vote by mail. As I mentioned, you can go early vote to many different polling locations. You can register at the polls. And so we want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to vote in the city of Minneapolis. And we also use ranked choice voting in Minneapolis, which is where you have an opportunity to select up to 3 candidates as you are exercising your civic responsibility and duty to vote. And I think that takes away some of the anxiety that people have when they're at the ballot. They're like, a lot of people are like, I really like this person, and I like this person, but I like this person a little bit more.
That's true.
So now you can vote, your conscience instead of, holding your nose and voting for, quote, the lesser of two evils, as it were. So, ranked choice voting in Minneapolis.
Now, my last and final question, for anyone that is interested in keeping up with your run currently for the election that's taking place, but also just wants to keep abreast as to what's going on with Ward 8, can you share the contact information so that people can reach out to you?
Absolutely. Well, my campaign website is Andrea-Jenkins.com.
That's important.
Yeah, that's very important. Andrea- or dash Jenkins.com, and you can keep up with our election work and join us in our campaign if you are so inclined. If you live in Ward 8 or not, you can still volunteer. But also, you can log into my city website as well. which is Andrea Jenkins at minneapolismn.gov, and get signed up for our newsletters. I do a monthly newsletter that goes, a bi-monthly newsletter that goes out and keeps people informed on what's happening on the council. And I'm also on all social media, so you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I don't tweet as much as I used to. Me and Elon Musk have not really been working out that great.
I understand. It's a lot of us who have left Elon exactly where we found him.
Yeah. But, I really am very fond of LinkedIn, so you can check me out on LinkedIn as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you for joining me today, Council President Jenkins.
Thank you, Anna. This has been a delightful conversation.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today's episode. A very special thank you to Council President Andrea Jenkins and her amazing team at the City of Minneapolis that is supporting Ward 8. Please keep abreast of all the special election information that is taking place in November, and make sure that you get out and put some dollars into the Black business owners of your community and across this country. I look forward to connecting again with you soon. As always, I am Anna Orr, and we'll chat again soon.
Maqaan kiyya Dr. Elias Jama, pharmacistidha. So wannin dhaamsa qabu duraan dursee kan COVIDidha. COVID kana yoo namoonni shaatii hin fudhanne vaaksina yookaanis talaalee namoonni hin fudhanne akka fudhataniif ammallee COVID ni jira. So tanarratti waan dharaa miti waan dhugaati. Akka namuu COVID shaatii fudhatuuf hawwina. Yoo gaafii waa'ee COVID vaaksiinii kanaas yoo qabaatan nutti bilbila Sword Pharmacy yookaanis Access Clinic yookaanis doktara keessan bira godhayxan gaafachuus ni dandeessanii. Ammallee vaaksiiniin kennamaa jira. Namoonni fudhatan akka fudhataniif isin gaafanna.